watching WEAR-3, Pensacola, Mobile, and Fort Walton Beach.
Good morning. This is 3 in the morning at 6, Channel 3's new morning program. I'm Tina Salzman.
And I'm Bob O'Brien, and this is our new set. I guess we could call it our living room, maybe?
Sort of.
Sort of like that. It's like when you first move into an apartment or a house, maybe your pictures aren't all up or anything like that. We've got plenty of flowers around us. We'll move the furniture around a little bit, but we're going to kind of get settled in, and we hope you get settled in with us also.
And the other part of our 3 in the morning is Julia Yarbo, and Julia joins us now with some news. Good morning, Julia.
And good morning to you, everybody, also. In the news this morning, heavy thunderstorms caused massive delays this weekend on the Pensacola Bay Bridge. Right now, the Florida Highway Patrol says it's smooth sailing. Motorists heading into Pensacola from Gulf Breeze will encounter the usual morning traffic jams, but there have been no accidents reported. Heading into Gulf Breeze, traffic is moving smoothly. A Pensacola babysitter who pled no contest to manslaughter charges is scheduled to be sentenced today. 22-year-old Robin Huffman is accused of suffocating Clint Hudson to death in 1987. Hudson's parents persuaded Sheriff Charlie Johnson to reopen the case, which led to Huffman pleading no contest. She has also pleaded no contest to an unrelated charge of committing a lewd and lascivious act in front of a 9-year-old girl. At least one man led Baldwin County Sheriff's deputies on a high-speed chase and manhunt this morning. Details are sketchy at this moment. What we have been able to learn is that the chase began around 3 this morning. The man hit a deputy's car with his car, kept going, then abandoned his car in a ditch south of Highway 104 near Silver Hill, Alabama. Search dogs were called in and the man was flushed out of the woods. Sheriff Charlie Johnson and Escambia Arms residents plan to rally again tonight. The two sides have been at odds over law enforcement at Escambia Arms. Deputies are often greeted with rocks and other debris, and on several occasions some have been jumped. But residents say lawmen are overreacting with the show of force when an incident occurs. Both sides want to work out an agreeable solution. The biggest drug sweep ever in Florida was a success. Operation Rockpile, a statewide crackdown on crack cocaine, landed nearly 2,200 people in jail. Nearly 1,000 officers made the arrest in reverse sting operations targeting dealers and buyers. In Escambia County, 100 people were handcuffed and locked up in Operation Rockpile. Local law officials say while the operation was a success, the assault on illegal drug trafficking is far from over. In other news this morning, the U.S. Supreme Court is just hours from ending its current term with what could be a monumentous ruling on abortion. The 9 justices are being asked in a Missouri case to reverse the High Court's 1973 decision legalizing abortion. The issue has stirred protest in Pensacola and Fort Walton Beach. The High Court may give states more leeway in regulating abortion. If that happens, Florida House Speaker Tom Gustafson says he'll call for a special legislative session to address the issue. Eastern Airlines has nearly tripled its number of flights. Spokesman Robin Hattel says the Miami-based carrier launched 225 flights yesterday compared to 80 the day before. This is the 4th month of the strike by Eastern's Machinists Union. Despite the strike, Mattel says the carrier plans 800 flights by December. The expansion is in line with a rebuilding plan the carrier has submitted to bankruptcy court. Despite all of the damp weather, there will be plenty of celebrating this 4th of July. But as Heather Tesh reports, some people may get more than what they bargained for.
Fireworks can be destructive. Imagine this doll is you. As you bend over a firework, it goes off in your face. It actually happened to Roger Johnson. 2 years ago, a firework instantly exploded as he bent over to light the fuse.
It happened, we're in the middle of the street, so it blew me from the middle of the street all the way up onto the boulevard. It actually picked me off my feet, so it threw me about 10 feet.
Today, Roger's working at a hardware store. He still needs one more operation to remove gunpowder embedded in his skin. Roger Johnson's not alone. Last year, 10,000 people were treated in emergency rooms for fireworks-related injuries, and many of those injuries will stay with them for a lifetime.
The fingertip injuries with exploding fireworks can result in loss of tissue which you can't replace. And the burns, in particular with ignited clothing, the burns can be so severe that you can end up with permanent scarring. So all of these injuries are better prevented because they're very difficult to repair once they occur.
The safest type of firework fun seems to be this, fireworks sponsored and carefully controlled by authorities. From Pensacola, Heather Tesh, Channel 3 News.
If you want to enjoy safe fireworks tomorrow night, you may want to head to Pensacola Beach for its show after dark. And there's something hot on the beach in beachwear. Deputy Robert Brigham is sporting the latest look for sheriff's deputies patrolling the shores. Shorts and a t-shirt replace hot long trousers and shirts. Deputies think the new duds are pretty cool.
I think it's great. You know, I've been out here, this is my 6th summer out here, and the last 5 I've worked strictly on the boardwalk on weekends, and I think it's great. You know, it's a lot cooler, a lot more comfortable.
And that is the news for this hour, and now we return to Bob and Tina.
It was kind of weird. I was out at the beach, I guess last weekend, and I saw this new outfit that they have, and it's kind of strange seeing a policeman in shorts and t-shirts, you know, but they're still doing an effective job.
Definitely more comfortable and getting the job done.
I guess so. And
Looks like fun.
out at the beach, I guess that's what you need more than anything else.
They're going to need it today, Bob?
Well, one of their things they may want to take along today would be an umbrella. It's going to be a little bit warm outside, but still the umbrella would do some good. Right now it's mostly cloudy and there is some rain activity. Most of it is in the Gulf and it is moving to the north. So I think today, once again, as we saw over the weekend, there's a good chance we're going to see some shower activity. Winds coming out of the southwest, 16 miles an hour. Humidity is 82%. Pressure is rising. The rain, well, we haven't gotten anything measurable quite yet, but as I said, you can see it out here in the Gulf. Some below Walton County is a little bit strong. It is moving to the northeast at about 25 miles an hour. Some thunderstorm activity is contained in that. Most that's over Escambia and Santa Rosa County now is light rain. But again, this afternoon, that may turn a little bit intense as the afternoon starts to work its way in and the heating starts to take effect. Some of the current temperatures, with the shower activity and pace, it's not quite as warm. It's 74 degrees, 75 in Crestview, 76 in Century, 75 Daphne, 80 in Pensacola, and Niceville is 79. Taking a look at that forecast, look for the clouds to stick around throughout most of today, 80% chance of rain. Now, yes, that means you should take your umbrella with you. It should be around 85 degrees for the high. Tonight, mostly cloudy, still a 60% chance of rain. The low should be dropping down to, let's say, the mid to low 70s, about 72 degrees. So it's going to be a real good idea all day today to make sure that umbrella is very close by.
Well, you know, the only thing is that it got a lot cooler yesterday, and maybe the same way again today, so it's not so bad having a little rain.
Little positive effect in there.
Yeah, a little refreshing. When we come back, we'll have sports with Dan Shugart and our marine forecast. Stay with us. It is 6:09. Welcome back to 3 in the morning.
And we've got some news for you this morning. Florida Senate and Governor Bob Martinez apparently are heading for a showdown. The governor vetoed state health programs worth $20 million to the poor. Now a ranking Senate Republican says he has enough votes to overturn the veto. The money would help pay for intensive care for infants.
Sounds like a possible showdown there. And in our marine forecast, moving ahead, we're going to take a look at our weather conditions in just a moment. At this point, the high tides will be at 11:31 this morning in Pensacola. The low will be at 10:58 tonight. Alabama Point, high around 8:53, low tonight at 10:09. And in Destin, the high 11:04 and the low tonight later on. We'll have that later on for you. And looking onto our seas, it will be 2 to 3 feet, water temperature 83 degrees, wind southwest at 10 knots. Protected waters will have a light chop. Our sunburn index is currently at a 7, and the surf conditions are choppy, height 2 to 3 feet.
And Dan Shugart is coming up right now with the wrap-up of some sports for us.
Well, good morning, everyone. You too, Tina and Bob. Heading the weekend sports action, the 19th annual Pensacola Billfish Tournament. It was a lot of fun for all, as Dan Shugart showed last night in a Channel 3 Billfish special. Also special may be a boxer by the name of Donovan Razor Ruddock. The Canadian heavyweight champ went head-to-head with Bone Crusher Smith, the same Bone Crusher that went the distance with Mike Tyson. But he wouldn't go the distance with the Razor, as Ruddock cuts him down in the 7th round, knocking him out. Afterwards, Bone Crusher said he felt this kid could give Tyson a run for his crown? Maybe we'll find out. In auto racing, IndyCar driver Emerson Fittipaldi has made it 3 wins in a row, beating the field to reign supreme in the Cleveland Grand Prix. Mario Andretti finishes second. And in baseball, the Braves trade Deion James to Cleveland for Oda B. McDowell, while they send Zane Smith to Montreal for 3 minor league players. And oh, by the way, the Braves looked fairly good in beating Philadelphia last night. Well, that's it in sports. Back to you, Tina and Bob.
Dan has changed his voice. That was actually William. Yeah, it was actually William Jackson, right?
Well.
If you have a young one in the house, you may want to pay attention on our next segment. Sue Strawn has her dimensions coming up, and she's going to be talking about how to avoid dangerous electrical situations.
I guess maybe William will forgive us for that.
Well, if you've been running around and haven't had a chance to look at a clock, it is now 6:14:30 in the morning.
And thank you, Bob. Many of us would probably go into shock with that if we didn't have to have any electricity, or if we had to do without electricity, that is. But having electricity can literally give you the shock of your life if you're not careful. Sue Strawn has some helpful reminders for us on this week's Dimensions.
Well, you know, Tina, our good friend Bob O'Brien has been learning some safety tips lately. Unfortunately, he's been learning them the hard way. There are lots of accidents that do occur around the home. Many of them are electrical in nature, oftentimes resulting in fire. Sharing with us this week some safety tips is Grace Gagne from Gulf Power. Grace, just how many accidents of an electrical nature do we see in the home?
We see about 1,000 electrocutions every year and about 10,000 fires in the United States.
All right. Many of them in the home. And of course, in the kitchen area is where most of these accidents occur. There's some very simple and not very costly safety precautions that you can check.
This is a circuit tester. It's available for about $6 to $10. And with this simple device, you can check the wiring in all of the receptacles in your house.
Probably one of the first things everyone should do.
When you plug it in, if the lights shine on the outside, that means that that circuit is okay. If the lights shine in any other arrangement, there's a code that will tell you what the problem is. And any of these problems would need to be checked out by an electrician and solved because they could result in fire or electrocution hazards.
And what is one of the main temptations that we find?
One of the main temptations is to overload an outlet, especially in the kitchen. It's so easy to put your juicer, your blender, your toaster oven, and all of those things on an outlet that was only designed to handle much fewer appliances. This is what we call an octopus plug because it has too many receptacles for that outlet.
And obviously a no-no.
That's right. If you do need to plug in more than 2 appliances on an outlet, this is preferred because it has a circuit breaker. And this strip is Underwriter Laboratory approved, and it will automatically shut off the power if there's any sort of short circuit or overheating.
Or if it becomes overloaded. Now, there's a little cap that's laying there on the counter, and I would imagine that's something that is a must for every home that has a child.
That's right. You would normally put these in the outlets at floor level or within reach of small children so that they don't put any metal objects in the outlet.
Another precaution, and something to be remembered, is that water and electricity don't mix. You've got a sink right here, you've got an outlet right there. Oftentimes we're in a hurry, very busily doing things in the kitchen. How dangerous is that?
It's very dangerous because water lowers your resistance to ground and causes a shock hazard whenever you're possibly plugging an appliance in or cleaning a faceplate. If it happened to have any damage or had been removed, you could contact exposed energized parts.
Another thing that we often do when we're in a hurry is try to fix things ourselves, and perhaps there's nothing wrong with that, but there are some safety precautions that you need to take when you're working with electrical appliances.
That's right. We need to disconnect an electric appliance from any source of energy before we start to work on it. And also, if that piece of toast gets stuck in the toaster, it might be tempting to take a knife and reach in there, but that is definitely a shock hazard. You can have energy flow right from that knife to your body, to ground, and be electrocuted.
All right. Something else perhaps that we need to remember is little simple things around the kitchen, like cleaning the dust plate.
That's right. These appliances use a lot of energy and produce a lot of heat, and ventilation is necessary at the bottom. It's also a place where dust tends to accumulate, and that creates more heat and possibly a less efficient operation of your refrigerator, as well as a possible fire hazard.
There are some other areas of the home that can be quite dangerous. The living room, here again, where many families spend a lot of time, we have a lot of hazards there, and on tomorrow we'll venture into that area and take a look at some of the precautions that perhaps you need to take. And Tina, please make sure that Bob is taking notes, okay?
Okay, Sue, I'll check with him. We'll be back in just a moment. It is 6:21. Joey Yarbo has more news for us this morning.
And good morning, everybody. Santa Rosa County firefighters are on the scene of a house fire this morning at 100 Plantation Road. A fire department spokeswoman says no one was in the house or injured. Estimated damage has not yet been determined. There is good news this morning for Bellevue residents. The Bellevue Fire Department has just been rated one of the best in Escambia County. That not only means better service, but a drop in insurance rates for local residents.
The entire department worked around the clock to get things ready for the inspectors. And yesterday when the letter came telling us that we had had a rating change, everybody was very excited.
And if you're interested, volunteer fire departments in Escambia County are looking for new recruits. In other news this morning, the State Department of Natural Resources has come under scrutiny. Governor Bob Martinez has asked DNR Secretary Dale Twachtman to submit quarterly reports on controversial agency decisions. The move comes on the heels of DNR okaying the destruction of mangroves in Biscayne Bay and the dredging of the Apalachicola River. Locally, the department secretary has been praised for turning down a permit for a landfill near Dorcas in Okaloosa County. And that is the news for right now. And back to Bob and Tina.
Thank you, Julia. A little bit wet outside right now. If you're driving, be very careful because the roads are a little bit on the slippery side. Mostly, well, it actually isn't mostly clear. It's actually mostly cloudy. Winds are out of the southwest around 16 miles per hour. Humidity is 72%. Pressure is rising. They haven't taken the official count of the rain yet, but it's going to start falling very soon and start filling some of those things up. Some of the current radar that we have right here is down around Walton County. Still some thunderstorm activity. The rain is starting to move along the coast. You can see some around Santa Rosa and Okaloosa County. It's moving to the northeast at about 15 to 20 miles an hour. So if you're going to be out today, take your umbrella with you and be very careful when you're driving. These are some of the current temperatures around the area along the coast. A bit warmer, 77 New Orleans, 78 in Apalachicola. Gets a little bit cooler back behind all this mess, 66 in St. Louis, 69 up in Louisville. Taking a look at some of our weather that we're going to have around all day today. It's going to be mostly cloudy, 80% chance of rain. The high should be about 85 degrees. Tonight, look for it to be mostly cloudy still, about a 60% chance of rain. The low will drop down to around 72 degrees. And taking a look at our travel forecast, if you're going
to Atlanta, our travel tip today, thunderstorms and about 81 degrees, so bad weather there as well. Joining us now is Gene Boers with A.G. Edwards. He is the manager and vice president of A.G. Edwards in Pensacola. Gene will give us a report daily on money matters. Gene, welcome, and what do you plan to talk about on your daily reports?
Thank you, Tina, and good morning, Bob. What I'm hoping to bring to our viewers is a broad brush approach to the market in understandable terms, and to be able to localize that by covering local stocks of interest, not only here in Pensacola, but in Mobile and Fort Walton as well.
Great. What do you have today for us?
Well, the stock market suffered a pretty good hit last week as rising concerns about an economic slowdown put pressure on stocks. The Dow Jones posted a 3.6% decline over the last week and will open this morning at the 2440 level. Some noted analysts believe that we might have made a short-term top in the market. We'll just have to wait and see how this week's activities unfold. In local business news, Reichhold Chemical announced the transfer of 40 scientists and top-level managers from Pensacola to a new facility in North Carolina. The move will result in the elimination of 80 jobs at the Pensacola plant. While most local stocks retreated with the market, Armstrong World gained over 4 points on an announced share buyback and an employee stock ownership plan that will give employees a 12% voting stake. Reuters News also reported that Armstrong World may be a possible takeover candidate. Controversy continues to surround Gulf Power and the Southern Company. Many local investors own Southern Company stock and depend on it for income. I spoke this weekend with Doug Fisher, our chief electric utility analyst in St. Louis. He had these comments for local Southern Company shareholders.
There's been much news in recent months about rumored illegal activities at Gulf Power. While a grand jury investigation may indeed result in formal allegations of wrongdoing, we highly doubt that the matter will have a significant long-term financial impact on the Southern Company. In early October, we expect Southern Company's Georgia Power Unit to be granted permission to increase rates to cover costs of the Vogtle 2 nuclear unit. This should boost Southern Company's already sound cash flow and set the stage for a dividend increase sometime in 1990.
Gene, what's this week look like?
Well, as we speak, the Purchasing Managers Index is being released. That may seem complex, but what that index means is how much our nation's corporations are spending, or should I say buying. Significantly lower numbers could be negative on the market. On Friday, unemployment and payroll employment figures will be public. This should give us a pretty good indication if the economy is heating up or cooling down.
Thank you, Gene.
Thank
and
you.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, we're winding down on this first half hour. Right now it is 6:28 in the morning.
And toads are in the news, Bob.
Toads?
Toads. Does that sound like fun?
No.
Thousands of tiny toads in Dublin, California have been reeling under an overload. They've been coming out of drainage canals, they're in backyards, patios, and all over roads. It's causing quite a stir to toad lovers. They might just be hoppiness. But to others, they're not so crazy about them. Right now, there's nothing they can do about it. They're saying that toads don't have teeth, they don't bite, and they eat insects. So maybe you should accept them, warts and all.
They make noise, though. There's one outside my window and it makes a noise, and I don't know what it's doing or anything like that.
Okay. And later on, when we come back after the network news, we will have Dr. Donna Jacoby from West Florida Regional Medical Center to talk about hard, difficult medical ethical questions facing families today.
There are a lot of them. That's very true. Right now, we join ABC World News This Morning with Forrest Sawyer. We'll be right back.
Good morning. It is 6:44. Welcome back to 3 in the morning. I'm Tina Salzman.
And I'm Bob O'Brien. And if you're planning on getting ready to go to work or go out shopping or whatever, even though it's a little bit early to do all of that, it's a little bit slippery outside. We've had some rain scattered here and there, so be a little bit careful. Right now, mostly cloudy. Winds out of the southwest, 12 miles an hour. Humidity is 82%. Pressure is rising. The rain gauges haven't been filled quite yet, but they're going to start getting filled up this afternoon. Yesterday, there was a lot of rain all throughout the area, especially along the beaches, just kind of like downpours coming down. And it could be that way again today. More inland areas as the day goes on. Right now, most of the shower activity is out in the Gulf, even though we're getting some scattered around the area. Taking a look at the rest of the nation, most of the activity is in the southeast. If you want some sunshine, you're going to have to go back up into the Midwest. These are some of the current temperatures. Temperatures are still cool from Dallas, Fort Worth at 72, Nashville is 73, New York 72, Minneapolis is 76. And what's causing all the cooler weather up north is a couple of high pressure systems coming down, cold front, working its way into the Midwest. It'll kick off shower activity all throughout the Northeast and the Ohio Valley today. In our area, it's that low. Where you're wondering where the remnants of Allison is? Well, Allison is way up in this area right now, so the combination of these two continues to bring those winds out of the south and continues to bring us the moisture. Don't forget your umbrella today. Taking a look at today's forecast, mostly cloudy. There it is, 80% chance of rain, the high about 85 degrees. Tonight, not much change, mostly cloudy, 50% chance of rain with the low around 74 degrees. And with the rain on the roads and everything, it's a little bit slippery out there.
But should be nicer this evening.
We hope.
Yeah. And now it's Julia Yarbo with the news.
Thank you, Tina, and good morning, everybody. Santa Rosa County firefighters are on the scene of a house fire this morning at 100 Plantation Road. A fire department spokeswoman says no one was in the house or injured. Estimated damage has not yet been determined. At least one man led Baldwin County Sheriff's deputies on a high-speed chase and manhunt this morning. Details are sketchy at this moment. What we have been able to learn is that the chase began around 3 this morning. The man hit a deputy's car with his car, kept going, then abandoned his car in a ditch south of Highway 104 near Silver Hill, Alabama. Search dogs were called in and the man was flushed out of the woods. Sheriff Charlie Johnson and Escambia Arms residents plan to rally again tonight. The two sides have been at odds over law enforcement at Escambia Arms. Deputies are often greeted with rocks and other debris, and on several occasions some have been jumped. But residents say lawmen are overreacting with the show of force when an incident occurs. Both sides want to work out an agreeable solution. A Pensacola babysitter who pled no contest to manslaughter charges is scheduled to be sentenced today. 22-year-old Robin Huffman is accused of suffocating Clint Hudson to death in 1987. Hudson's parents persuaded Sheriff Charlie Johnson to reopen the case, which led to Huffman pleading no contest. She has also pleaded no contest to an unrelated charge of committing a lewd and lascivious act in front of a 9-year-old girl. And that is the news for right now, and we'll rejoin Bob and Tina.
Yeah.
We got it down. If you missed some of the scores last night, taking a look at the American League first. This is the scoreboard. Well, we're going to take a look at the National League first. That's true. The Braves over the Phillies 3-1. The Expos clobbered the Astros 13-2. They did, trust me. The Mets over the Reds 7-2. Dwight Gooden goes on the 15-day disabled list because of a shoulder problem. Padres over the Cardinals 5-2. Dodgers beat the Pirates, and the Giants over the Cubs 4-3.
And in the American League, it was the Oakland A's 11-3 over the Cleveland Indians. Milwaukee Brewers 10-2 over the New York Yankees. Tigers beat Baltimore 7-3. That'll make some of the photographers and William here happy. It was the Red Sox over the Toronto Blue Jays 4-1. Minnesota Twins 2-1 over the California Angels. Chicago White Sox 7-3 over Kansas City. And the Seattle Mariners and Texas Rangers were rained out.
With Jimmy Presley sitting on the bench. Hopefully he'll start playing pretty soon.
Hope
Get
so.
back in the lineup.
Yeah. Later on when we come back, taking a look at the tough medical ethical issues. Stay with us.
Well, right now it is 6:51 in the morning.
And as the advances in medical technology help people live longer, the question sometimes becomes whether to keep a loved one alive or with the machine. Now hospitals are forming bioethics committees to help deal with those tough decisions. Here's our report.
These two sisters and their brother faced a number of decisions about their 91-year-old father. Joseph Payton fell last November, losing consciousness, vision, and speech. One doctor recommended brain surgery, another disagreed. The family decided not to go through with surgery since the outlook was grim.
Because Dad, I know, indicated to me, and I think to my sisters, that he never wanted to be incapacitated. He did not want death prolonged, that he expected a certain quality of life. He had always enjoyed it right up to the day he fell.
In January, they chose to stop their father's tube feedings. That same day, before the feedings were discontinued, he died peacefully.
He could have been kept alive on life support systems for an indefinite period of time. The process of dying could have been prolonged to where the body deteriorated more. There's no quality in life, either to him or to us at that point.
As machines like these keep people alive longer, many families and physicians are forced to make decisions they never had to face in the past. West Florida Regional Medical Center has formed a 14-member bioethics committee, which includes physicians, social workers, and nurses. When requested, 2 or 3 committee members may meet with a doctor and a family to sort out legal, medical, and ethical questions.
We're talking about what is the best thing to do, what is our interpretation of what is the right thing to do in this situation of life.
So many people don't know what their rights of decision are. It's difficult to give up.
Dr. Donna Jacoby joins us now. She is an internist at West Florida Regional Medical Center. She is part of the hospital's bioethics committee. Dr. Jacoby, how in depth do you envision this committee getting?
I think right now we're a year and a half into our committee functions, and we're mainly an educational committee, both for the members themselves as to what are the issues, how do you go about thinking about those issues. We want to educate the staff, we want to educate the community. We'll be involved in helping to review hospital policies, and we will serve a consultative role, and I think that will be at the request of physicians, other staff members, or the patients. How that will come about, how we can be most effective in that role, I think is yet to be determined. We don't want to be a panel that sits in judgment over someone, but we want to be able to help them in making those difficult decisions.
These are difficult decisions. Why has it taken so long to set up a committee like this?
I don't know. I've only been at the medical center about 3 years, and we started about January of 1988. We've been at it 18 months. Sacred Heart has had one for a good length of time, I think pushed by all the issues with neonatal intensive care units and the problems in determining how to support those children. Baptist is in the process of forming a committee now. Across the country, they've been in effect probably 10 years or more, and I think it's a growing concern, and more hospitals are putting these type programs into effect.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jacoby. We appreciate your joining us this morning.
Well, if you want to know more about poetry and poetry reading, we've got a story for you right after this.
It is 3 minutes before 7.
6:57.
That's right.
Yeah, if you're going outside, make sure you've got that umbrella. Take it with you, because today's forecast is calling for an 80% chance of rain, otherwise mostly cloudy, and a high of about 85 degrees.
And starting tonight at 7 o'clock in Seville Square, poets will have a marathon poetry reading session on patriotism. That's supposed to last 24 hours.
It's a long time.
Something to do tonight. Now, Julia, last look at the news.
Thanks, Tina. And right now, Baldwin County Sheriff's deputies are led on an early morning high-speed chase and manhunt. We'll tell you about that. And also, a report that a Pensacola babysitter received sentencing today for charges of manslaughter. And coming up tonight at 6 on Channel 3 News, reporter Mark Curtis will have the story on that babysitter and the results of the sentencing. So that's what's going on.
And we have to give our congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Julia.
One of our 3 in the morning members got married Friday, right, Julia?
That's right.
That is great.
Now married?
It's Mrs. Julia
Yarbo.
Oh, okay, we're going to skip that. Okay. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tomorrow we have a story on the 4th of July. We're going to have a live report. They're going to be out at the beach, and they're going to be talking about the fireworks display that's going on tomorrow night, right?
Yes.
That should be interesting.
It should.
Should be good. Now, I guess we've got to go. This is our Monday show, and for Julia, Tina, and myself, and all of us on 3 in the morning, have a great day.